Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Knock On Podcast, brought to you by the good people at Zero Time. Dan, week one of the finals is done and dusted. 2 teams are done and dusted. Another 2 teams are going to join them this weekend. What's been happening around the league?
Look, first of all, I just want to apologise for missing last week. Had some horrible technical difficulties on completely my part. But as you can tell now, it's all good. So I don't know, maybe we weren't meant to talk football. But let's get straight into it, mate. And the news that came out today from the Brisbane Broncos is at Superstar Centre, and I will throw it to you to break that down. Selwyn Cobbo is going to test the free market and see what he's worth. A couple of questions here, Terry, but first and foremost, did Brisbane make a big bid? Did he earn it? And if not, do you think other clubs will come in and say, "Oi, Cobbo, come play for us"?
I think Selwyn Cobbo's got his eyes on one club and one club only at the moment, and that is not the Brisbane Broncos. I think Selwyn Cobbo wants to be a chook.
So they got a fair bit of money in a centre position or two up for grabs in the next little bit. That's a good shout.
I don't think Brisbane will get anywhere near the money that they want to, that he's going to want, because that money is going to have to go to someone like Sam Walker or a halfback out of contract, or to try and go on your hands and knees and get Tom Dearden to come back, or find a partner for Ezra Mam anywhere that they can. I think they've got a lot of money tied up in Reece Walsh, Ezra Mam, Payne Haas. Pat Carrigan's going to take some money. Tony Staggs isn't cheap, despite the fact that he's very inconsistent. And I think, Brisbane could do the smart thing here and make a play at somebody else. But no, I think this is, the best thing for Selwyn Cobbo and Brisbane at the moment is for both of them to shake hands and walk away at the end of his contract.
Yeah, look, I agree. I was shocked because I felt like he was being groomed as the next star of Brisbane. But I think inconsistency is the word I think of when I think of Selwyn Cobbo. At his best, his ceiling is right up here. There are very few players. He literally won an Origin game. Like, I maintain that if he wasn't on the bench for Origin 1, I still think Queensland win, but the way they won it was just like, he just dominated. And then after that, then what? Like, he had a couple of good games, he missed some games, he got dropped because of supposedly attitude. We don't know, we weren't there, but when someone within the camp says that, you have to take it at face value. Yeah, I think Cobbo can be a tremendous player. I think he needs to move away from Brisbane. I don't know what it is. Maybe he goes to the Chooks and doesn't. Maybe he resigns to Brisbane tomorrow. I don't know. But I feel like, I think you've summed it up pretty well there. I think their money needs to go to finding a halfback. So I think Adam Reynolds, as much as I love the bloke and as much as I think South Sydney made a huge error in the end, how much longer has that got to go?
Yeah, I think they kept him on for one more year, so at the end of 2025, and that married up for Sam Walker. But it sounds like he's going to stay at the Chooks, so they've got to go and they've got to find a way to get somebody else to come up to Brisbane, their next superstar. But if the money is a good halfback or Selwyn Cobbo, they need the halfback more than they need Selwyn Cobbo.
Very, very correct. And just before we move on, Ben Hunt may be looking for a new club.
If I'm Brisbane, no.
Fair enough. I love it. Moving on from one player who will have probably a club or two chased him to another player that will have a club or two chased him. I dare say Josh Addo-Carr's time at the Canterbury Bulldogs may be coming to an end. Maybe as soon as this hits the air. Who knows? Look, I don't want to talk about what happened and blah, 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 but I think what might cost him his role at the Dogs is that he ultimately made Phil Gould look unprofessional and stupid, and there's one thing that Phil Gould doesn't like, and that's being made to look like a fool. So I think he may pay the price for that. You think there'll be many clubs that come after Addo-Carr, seeing that he's been from a few clubs now?
If I'm the Brisbane Broncos, I'm giving Josh Addo-Carr a call.
I wrote 5 landing spots for Josh Addo-Carr, 4 NRL clubs, and I think Super League will be an option. There's going to be no shortage of suitors for Josh Addo-Carr.
I don't know if he will get the work permit or the visa permit to go to England.
Knowing the players that got him?
Huh?
Knowing that Todd Carney, Greg Bird...
They went to France. So unless he goes to Catalans.
You reckon he goes to Catalans? I think they could like...
I don't think Catalans have an open spot, though.
Do you make one? Work with me here, Terry.
Yeah, well, I'm working with you. I'm letting you know. I think that there'll be no end of suitors to Josh Addo-Carr. He's a very, very good player, and there are some... Like Canberra. Canberra could use him. Jordan Rapana. St George could probably use him.
Maybe they were on the list too. Who knows?
South Sydney could definitely use him.
Maybe they were on the list. Newcastle.
No, I always thought, and Newcastle came out recently and said that they were looking for a winger, and then Fletcher Sharp just turned into an insane winger, and they've got Greg Marju. So, I mean, no, I would rule Newcastle out. I'd rule Newcastle out of them. I think you can confidently rule out most of the Brisbane clubs. Most of the Queensland clubs. If I'm the Broncos and Selwyn Cobbo wants to go, I'm giving Josh Addo-Carr a call. Mate, get out of the Sydney media. If look at how much we can sweep under the carpet up here in Brisbane. Get up here. Get up. Come on, Josh. You got 3 years left of your contract in your legs. Let's go. Let's do it. That's a perfect spot.
It's funny you mention that because full disclosure, it's probably published by now anyways. I had Newcastle on there because I think Fletcher Sharp might move into the centres with Dan Gagai moving on very soon. I have Canberra, full disclosure. I think that makes a lot of sense. Imagine him in the green machine. Look, there are a few other clubs. I'll let you to find the link. It's a great article if I do say so myself. But what I'm saying is that I don't expect Addo-Carr's time to be the Dogs to last much longer.
No.
And I don't think he'll have any problem moving on. But we're going to move on to two humongous games this weekend. I just did a full rundown on the Wobbling Jaw podcast. You can find our rundown on Rugby League Outlaws. These two games, now the betting odds are 230 and 180 or so, 160 or something. I think they're both a lot closer than that.
Yeah, I would say the Sharks and Cowboys, if I was opening my own market, and I'm not, because I'm a really, really bad bettor, but I'd have $1.85, $1.95 and give the edge to Cronulla because it's in Sydney. I think $2.30, $1.60 would make sense if the game was switched and it was in Townsville. In terms of Manly and the Roosters, every day I'm flip-flopping on that because I'm like, the Roosters have got so many players out, but look at all the talent that's still there. And on the flip side, I'm like, look at how average that Manly team actually is on paper until you see the names Cherry Evans, Travojevic, so Oluwatu, the Taniela Paseka. God, I love that bloke. I think that one your odds may be a little bit right just because of the Sydney Roosters and the everlasting talent pool that they have there. And they were coming out, they were saying today that they don't want this to be Joey Manu's last game. They want to give Joey Manu and Joseph Swaliti the other opportunities to go and make a grand final. And good luck because you have to do that through Melbourne. But for Cronulla and the Cowboys, this is a genuine rivalry without being any kind of local derby, right? But you have a look, these guys meet in the finals 2013, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2022, now 2024. They're gonna meet in the finals. These fan bases hate each other. They genuinely hate each other. And they both have the sledging match that goes forward because they turn around and go, in 2015 we beat you and went on and won a premiership. And then we say, well, in 2016 we beat you and we went on and won a premiership. Our ex-player came and kicked the field goal in your swamp stadium and knocked you out. This is just a genuine right. And Kyle Felt hates us. Yeah. Ronaldo Mulatalo hates the Cowboys. This is amazing that we get another one of these. This is going to be a blockbuster on Friday night. I cannot wait. I'm glad that we got the worst tickets in the house to go and see this game. Any
tickets are good tickets when they sit next to you, mate. But I am so excited for both these games.
Yeah.
If I wasn't a Cronulla fan, I think it'd be peaking more for this game. I'm looking more forward to Saturday because you don't have to worry about the result.
Yeah.
I did a full breakdown before and I went in, I was going to tip Manly. Then I saw the Roosters bench and said, it's too good. The Roosters win that game. We were breaking down the Sharks. And obviously I'm going to tip Cronulla, being a Sharks fan, hello behind me. But I can be talked into the Cowboys beating us, just as they did a couple of weeks ago. Now, Cronulla do have the recent wood on the Cowboys, except in the finals in the game that matter. Every stat you can throw a stat, but. Okay, Nicho Hynes is probably the best player on the field.
I would say Tom Dearden.
Well, the Cowboys have Dearden and Drinkwater, who are probably 2 and 3. Then the Sharks probably have the next 3. Nane is under an injury cloud. So is Sifa Talakai. You got Val and Nero that are almost the same person. Literally the same person. You got wingers that hate each other that both score tries on each other for lols. You got, 1-1 this year. Cronulla flogged them down here and then they smashed us up there. I think the biggest thing going in is that they don't have Chad Townsend. I think Jake Clifford's a humongous upgrade, especially in his kicking game and defensively. Although did miss 9 tackles the other day, I was reliably informed rather. These games are literal coin tosses, and if I'm looking for value, I'm taking both the outsiders.
I'm gonna throw a game breaker from each team in the Cowboys and the Sharks, who I think hold the key to their team winning and losing this game. For the North Queensland Cowboys, it's Reuben Cotter. If he goes forward, the rest of those guys, they just lift. Like you see so many players at the heart and soul of the Cowboys. Like you've had your Matt Bowens, your Jonathan Thurstons, your Matt Scotts, all those guys. He is the next one. Like he is a local junior with a mullet and passion for that team, and he just loves it. And if he goes forward, that's it, man. Like they are so hard to stop, and I love Reuben Cotter. He makes any starting 13 in the NRL. I don't care what anyone says. He is that good. For the Cronulla Sharks, it is Blake Brayley. If he can get our forwards on the front foot, and our forwards actually want to turn up, and he can capitalise on that, he has been our best player in the last 7 weeks. I know a lot of people dumped on him in the halves on the weekend, but our forwards just couldn't go forward. The minute our forwards go forward, Blake Brayley wins us this game.
I'm going to be really controversial here and say I assume Jesse Raven's going to play. They wouldn't have named him at all if he wasn't. Mm-hmm. The winner of he and Val wins this game because both can win games, both can lose games. And I spoke to a Cowboys fan earlier tonight as we record this, and he was like, if Raven gets on top of Val missed a tackle on Ponga the other night. That should have been game over. It's only a pass it didn't. Ramin can be the best player on the field and do something dumb, turn the game and lose it. So I hope those two line up against each other. That was tremendous. But yeah, there's 4 or 5 one-on-one comps that could decide this. Then the next night you got Teddy Turbo, you got Kiri Brooks, the forward packs. I'm so excited for rugby league, mate. I love this time.
How insane is this storyline going to be if Luke Brooks took 4,055 days to play one finals game and ends up in a prelim?
Would be ridiculous. Look, it might happen. But from, a player who's flying right now to a player that has been the topic of some pretty vitriolic comments, good and defensively this week, and that's Nicho Hynes. Now, we are both Sharks fans. We try not to talk about the Sharks Hicks. We overflow everyone, but it is a talking point. Nicho Hynes, expecting him to finally stand up, and if he doesn't, is that it for Hynes?
No, it's not it for Hynes, and I think he takes a lot of unfair criticism, right? And it's the same for any game that you like. When a team loses, the first thing you do is you go and attack the best player on the other team. Our halves had literally no chance to do anything on the weekend because the Melbourne Storm suffocated our ruck and they dominated us in every tackle. We were making like 30 metres a set. What did you want him to do? We didn't have a tackle inside their 20-metre zone in the second half until the final 10 minutes of the game. The game was over. What did you want him to do? Like, I know Trindle got the sick try assist. That's mad. But outside of that, we just got dominated. The occasion got to not just Nicho, but the entire team. And so, you can turn around and he's the target because he's the $1 million man. He's the face of our team. He won a Dalian medal. He's the best player on our roster. Bar none. Until next year, he's the best player on our roster. But give him a chance. Like, with the last time that we played the Cowboys in the finals, he was the best player on the field. Just the sin bin to Connor Tracy cost us the game. That's it. He was by far the best player on the field. And then the following week against South Sydney, we got absolutely annihilated. We lost the game 38-12. He had 2 try assists. So this is the time for him, though. He needs to stand up in this game. The last time we played the Cowboys in Sydney, we absolutely flogged him. He was the best player on the field. He needs to do that again.
Yeah, I agree. I've written something that's going to drop by the time this drops, and it's going to split the Sharks fan base 50-50. There's going to be a lot of people that are in my corner. There's going to be a lot of people that aren't. What else is new? I hear them saying from the comments. Nicho Hynes is the Sharks' most important player by a long, long way. If you tell me now, you ask, how did Cronulla beat Penrith? Will Penrith all get COVID and don't turn up and have to forfeit? The only way we can realistically beat them if Nicho Hynes is the best player in the park. No Nicho, no chance. Now, that's not to say that Dan Atkinson hasn't deserved a shot. He's been very good. But Nicho Hynes was very good the other week against Manly, which people have conveniently forgotten. He was okay the other night. Now, he did have that one huge error where he didn't kick the ball out. It's little things like that. I know why people are bagging him, and I'm not going to argue with you. You're right. Nicho hasn't delivered that big win in a finals game yet. But as you said, he was the best player in 2 of the Sharks. And I'd say he was our best player last year too, and would have won us the game if our number 9 didn't overcall him and throw to a huge underlap when Nicho wanted the ball left. We score, we win, it's game over. Nicho couldn't have done much more. He's dragged us to 2 finals. Now this year, okay, it's been a little bit down, but during the start of the season, everyone was talking about him getting a Dally M because he was so much better than everyone else at Cronulla, and the way it is, and we'll talk about that in a minute, is those sorts of performances get you a Dally M. Then Origin happened, then he fell away, then he broke his leg, and syndesmosis and blah, 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 and he's come back and he's been okay. He needs to be the best, not the best on ground, but he needs to deliver a win. That's the only way people are going to stop talking about it. But if he doesn't, he needs to go away. He needs to think about he's got Adam Fanua-Blake coming in next year. He's got another final series. He needs to ring Madge Maguire and say, hey, I'm unavailable for Origin, whether you want it or not. I'm not playing football, Origin football, for 2 years. He needs to knuckle down. He needs to get there. Because I still maintain that Nicho is our best player. I think he's going to stand up and deliver this weekend purely because he has to.
He has to, yeah. It's not the end of him, right? He's too good a player now, but you will start to question. Not now is it a talent thing, but is it a mental thing? And it's easy to turn around and go, I'll just wait till next year till Fanua-Blake gets there. But what happens next year when Fanua-Blake lays the foundation and Nicho goes and lays an egg? He's got to stand up this weekend. We get this win. You get this win this weekend against the Cowboys. You're going to go and get the shit smacked out of you against Penrith. Right? I don't care. Come at me about being negative. I'm not being negative. I'm being a realist. We're going to go to Penrith or Allianz or CommBank Stadium, wherever it is, and they're going to put 30 on us, right? The only hope is that we can have 18 points and make it look respectable. The following year, when we've got one of the best forwards coming into the competition and we're laying that forward foundation every week, if he's got that one win under his belt, he gets into the finals next year, we're in the top 4, and he goes, you know what? This is easy because I've got this guy running forward for me, and I've got Blake Brayley running forward for me, and I know that my number 6, who should be the number 7, and I should be the number 6, is going to have an awesome game. So, yeah, he just needs to get this win this weekend, and I don't care if he's not the best player on the field, because if he's not the best player on the field and we win, that's awesome. If he's the best player on the field and we win, that's even better. But that would mean that, if he's not the best player, that would mean that one of our forwards has been sick, Jesse Ramian's been sick, or Trindle has just gone ballistic, or Brayley has stood up again.
No, you're right. And look, rugby league fans aren't real good at bringing in context. They talk about Matt Burton being the Iceman, kicking a field goal against Cronulla. He missed 3. Nicho missed 1. Now, I'm not defending Nicho. He should have slotted that. That was an easy field goal. Absolute chip shot, gimme, whatever you want to use. But the fact is, Cronulla didn't give him an opportunity to take a second, which he probably ices, whereas Burton got a 4th shot and kicked it. So let that resonate. Check the article. Let me know what you think. Let's move on to overall, now that the season's come to an end for the majority of teams, who do you think is the biggest overachiever this year? Not in that we thought, they're crap and they played well, but who did you predict in the preseason compared to who came out and shoved it down both our throats?
Are you talking about teams or players?
Teams.
Well, the easy one is to say the Bulldogs, because they hadn't been in the finals for ages. I'll give you 2, because they finished 6th and 7th, and we both had them 11th and 12th, and that's Canterbury and Manly.
Yeah, good shout. I want to throw the Dragons up there too. I had them winning the wooden spoon just quietly.
I would just rather throw the Dragons in the sea. I will say, though, that you talked me out of picking Newcastle into the top 8 at the beginning of the year because you wanted Parramatta in there. I was adamant that the Knights were going to make the finals. They made the finals.
Well, look, you didn't argue hard.
Nerdy nerd.
That's on you. You should put forward a better case next time. Yeah, look, the Bulldogs are the side for me. I don't think many people had them in their 8 in the preseason. I know I didn't. I think I had them 13th or something, which is an improvement.
No, we had them 11th and 12th respectively, them and Manly.
See, I think both sides have just blown up. Luke Brooks has been a great signing. Manly have had a few forwards, mainly Nathan Brown, come through that no one saw coming. There's a few there. But on the other side, who are the biggest underachievers?
The only reasonable answer to this is the Brisbane Broncos, followed by the New Zealand Warriors, followed by the Parramatta Eels.
Yes.
No, because, I mean, you and I had this discussion on Rugby League Hours. I didn't think the Souths were going to be all that good this year. And I was okay with having them in the finals, but I didn't think they were going to do anything. You're talking about a team that was up 16 points in the grand final with 16 minutes to go and lost it, and then finished behind the Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
They are the most disappointing team. You're then talking about the New Zealand Warriors, who finished 4th and finished behind the Dragons. And then the Parramatta Eels, that you had in the top 8, finished behind the Dragons. Can you see where I'm going with this?
Look, I definitely can. And the fact that Parramatta had to win a game to avoid the wooden spoon probably has Parramatta as the team that's underachieved. But Brisbane, they should have won the title last year. They were an
We picked them to win the title this year.
Yeah, look, yes. And the fact that they were gone from finals with weeks and weeks to go. I know mathematically they kept their chances alive and I jumped on the hype wagon. That was my mistake. It happens occasionally. You look at that. If you'd said that Parramatta, South, and Brisbane and Warriors all missed the 8, I'm saying what? In New South Wales Cup, well, half of them aren't even eligible. I just couldn't believe it. I think this has been one of the most entertaining seasons. I know 2 teams are head and shoulders above the rest. But outside of that, it's been chaos. Who would have picked Cronulla to finish in the 4? Some of us had the Roosters winning the comp. Others had them missing the 8. All on Tedesco's legs. It's been a great season. And if anyone can prove to me you pick 1 to 17 in the order it landed, you're a liar, a dirty, rotten liar. But let's fix a rugby league problem with our last point, mate. My feeling is that James Tedesco is going to win the Dally M. I think it should be Jerome Hughes. Is it time to look at the NBA and say, you've got it right, you need to pick on the MVP and use the eye test? Because for me, Jerome Hughes is clearly the best player in the competition this year.
Yes. I think there is something that needs to be... Like, even last year, right? Even last year, if you had a look at it, Sean Johnson was the best player in the league, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
I would have heard an argument for Callum Pong. Nicho Hynes finished 3rd. He was not the 3rd best player in the competition last year. Simple as that. The Daily M rewards a good player or a great player in a good team, right? I can't remember, apart from like your Cam Smith and you're talking about an immortal here, but I can't remember when you've had back to back, and I don't think it's happened, best player on the best team win the Daily M. Because it just does, like Penrith, like Nathan Cleary is going to go down as an all-time great and should finish his career as an immortal. Probably won't win a Dally M because of Dylan Edwards, because of Isaiah, because of James Fisher-Harris, because of Jerome Luai, because of Isaac Tungo, because of Matt Burton when he was there, taking points off of him. And then flip it to that, you've seen guys win the Dally M finishing 8th. And Nicho Hynes in 2022 won the Dally M, and second place was Ben Hunt, and the Dragons didn't make finals. 2023, like last year, again, we're saying Sean Johnson. I had the second best player in the competition as Dylan Edwards, full disclosure. He didn't get anywhere near it.
Yeah, it's true.
So, yeah, I think it's got to go down to, but the problem is with the NBA, right, is the NBA do it with the coaches and captains, and then they give the media a vote. But the NBA media aren't stupid. He would, like, if you give a vote to Phil Rothfield, he would probably vote for Jacob Little. Something like that, you know?
No disrespect to Jacob Little.
No disrespect to Jacob Little. But Rothfield would probably remember a couple of games, but, oh yeah, Little was sick for a couple of games, let's just give him my vote.
Yeah. Yeah, Scott and I have had this discussion a few times, and I'm going to put, at the end of the year, when Tedesco wins it and there's a blowout, I'm going to put my idea forward. Scott's very high on the 10, 9, 8, 7, blah, 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 all the way, which is good. I think you'll get a better winner at the end. But it depends on who's... Again, if you and I are watching the game, or Phil Rothfield's watching the game, or Greg Alexander, or blah, blah, blah. Paul Gallen's watching, sees a forward make 200 metres, it's a 10. Nathan Cleary's got 4 try assists, it's a 10. Yet you and I are watching and go, okay, 4 was okay, Cleary beat up. Lua's the best player, he's an 8, blah, blah. So you're not going to get consistency. If you ask 100 people right now that have watched most or all games, 99 are going to tell you Jerome Hughes is a Dahlia medalist. And he's not going to win it because he skipped the game, he got suspended, and he got rested at the end. Whereas Tedesco has been very good. Do not get me wrong, I think Tedesco's been outstanding this season. But he's
James Tedesco has been the second. James Tedesco has been the second best player in the competition this year.
Yeah, he's going to win the award because of the way.
But there is a big gap between him and Jerome Hughes, and you only need to have a look at the ladder to tell you how big that gap is.
Exactly right. Well, there you go. We fixed it. And look, ultimately, what you could do NRL, if you're watching, big fans of the show, come to me and Terry, and we'll fix it for you.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Knock On Podcast, brought to you by the good people at Zero Tackle. Your one-stop shop for all things rugby league. It's got up-to-date contracts, up-to-date news, player movements, the best independent writers on the planet for rugby league, including my colleague Dan, who has told you all his articles that he's doing this week. But give us a recap, Dan. What's happening?
Josh Addo-Carr is going to have lots of teams after him. I'm going to break down 4, and I put Super League as the 5th. Read why. And look, Nicho Hynes is under all sorts of trouble or under stress and blah, blah, blah. People calling him, oh, you got to drop him for Dan Atkinson. No, you don't drop him for Dan Atkinson, and I'm going to tell you why. Make sure you check it out. It's good to see you again, Terry, next week. Hopefully we're here in a celebration mood. But win or lose, we'll be here on Zero Tackle.